We're also on. I need my heating pad.
I just realized I don't have my microphone in front of me.
By the way, do you guys smell a slight burning smell when
Yes.
you guys walked in?
It smelled like a rotisserie in here.
I almost burnt down the officina today.
Oh, how'd you do
That
that?
was an old man move. I was heating up my heating pad for my back and in the microwave and left it in a skosh too long. There was smoke, no fire, but lots of smoke. And,
You know you're not supposed to microwave that. You just plug it in, right?
no, it was an old school one. It was like made of rice,
I
homemade.
love those. I have one of those, the
Yeah.
neck version.
I'm missing it now.
Yeah, the rice inside.
Yeah.
I love those.
Oh,
It's got
use
a
it.
particular scent to it.
yeah, it does smell a little.
I kind of like it.
Well, when it's on fire, it's pretty dirty.
Yeah.
All right, boys, how's it going today?
How is your back?
So last week's alfalfa round was do more deadlifts.
Oh my god.
I heard a few pops on Monday when I was doing my deadlifts. Immediately dropped the bar.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it was on the last rep of the last set. PR.
Such a good workout, but that's
That
the
still
one
counts as a PR, right? I got 2 up.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. So we're on a little
Yeah.
workout
going for the
hiatus until.
heavy ass weight will do that to you.
Yep. People were commenting on the glasses. Do you care to explain yourself?
Do they like them?
Unknown yet. Unknown. Undetermined.
No, these are my Ray-Ban Metas.
Are we going to connect those to the stream or?
I would like to do that someday.
First person.
Did you guys even notice? See, I was
Camera
recording that
view?
whole thing.
Wait, how did you turn it off?
It turns off after a minute.
Okay.
I didn't notice you were recording.
And nobody ever notices.
So
Like they put this
seamless.
light on that like flashes, and I'm having a single person be like, "What's that?" And every single person I ask is like, "Did you know that you were being recorded?" And they're like, "No," but creepy, bro.
That's pretty cool. And more importantly, I think they look pretty sick. You look big Clark Kent vibes right
Thank
now.
you, thank you.
Clark Kent.
I wasn't
comfortable
sure if
Clark
I should
Kent.
just go with the transition lenses or the straight sunglasses the whole time. Obviously, I think I look cooler in sunglasses, but when you're in,
Yeah. You don't want to be that.
like
guy.
I was in a wine cellar like recording stuff on the trip, and I would just been completely blind. So, I mean, the power move would be to buy both, I guess. But
So let's get can I ask you what are you using those for primarily besides just looking good?
so I was using them all day today because I lost both of my AirPods. Like I lost one yesterday and was like, what the hell? So I was walking around with one all day today, and then I also lost it. So
Oh,
then
you're practically not functional without your AirPods.
I know.
Rarely
But
seen
now
them
these
without
are like my backup AirPods now because the speakers on them are pretty good actually.
Yeah, they are
They
good.
get the job done.
You let me test drive them. They did
Yeah.
sound good.
Like I was playing with my dog at the dog park today, and it's just like first person throwing the ball and stuff.
How loud is it? Can people around you hear?
If it's really quiet and they're really loud, yeah, but like you don't really notice it.
So how do you hit record again? Like if you want to start recording
You
again?
hold this button.
And it's funny, it's a white light. It's not a red light. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't even. I'd be like, oh, there's
It kind
something.
of just looks like glare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they make it so you barely notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you click it once, it just like snaps a photo.
Okay.
So I was doing that on the trip, and it was nice because I was like kind of in the moment a little bit because I'd be like, oh look at this thing and click it, but like I would never look down at the phone, and like for the most part the stuff came out pretty good, and it was cool like being at dinner, just first person eating and seeing everybody.
I think they call that POV on the other video sites.
Feels a little bit. I really don't know. It feels a little bit like tech utopia kind of like products. Like it reminds me of this one. Can we pull it up because it's so related? Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
Too soon.
I mean, let's just dive into it.
Yeah,
It's
let's
related.
Here we go.
Okay, so an idea that would be very useful to me and highly annoying for everyone else. An AI wearable with real-time AI fact-checking at all times. Someone says something wrong, and I get a beep in my ear with a correction. Someone says something surprising but true, and it beeps a happy noise. Would be useful for all future dinner party convos. Who's with me on this? No. No.
No one is.
I don't want to know. I don't want the facts. I want to have a real human conversation where we have to explore it together and debate things. I don't want everything checked by God mode.
Yes, that was what I was
no
going to
I don't
say.
facts.
want
Like,
everything checked by God
There
mode.
is no
They're like
objective truth.
scientific law and most math, and then everything else
Right.
is like
There is no truth.
And this is insinuating that there is,
Right.
and that it can be sort of fact checked by AI with a wearable. Can you imagine how like that is the opposite of like the movement away from technology and connection, and the unplugged movement that I predict.
being
It's
present
the opposite.
around your friends.
Can you imagine John, you're full of shit.
No, you just beep them.
This is kind of the future, though. Like everybody's just so dependent. Like you say things, you're like, "Duh, is
bad.
that real?" And then
It's bad. I don't like it.
I wouldn't want to hang out with anyone like that.
Someone's gonna make this now because of this tweet.
The guy's a venture capitalist, right?
Oh yeah.
So someo's already building it, looking for some fun.
I actually like that guy. That's A16Z
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, he's a great
He's
guy.
smart.
How many
just-
friends do you
I
have?
think he's smart. I've liked his
Oh
other
yeah,
tweets.
yeah. He leads all the gaming and innovation at A16, and that just not every idea hits.
We caught him in a bad moment of his
I
own
feel
I
tweet.
know.
like-
I think it's just a circumstance of when you are in that bubble, you start to. I mean, we've been in it. We all basically, except I guess Nick, you didn't. Well, you didn't either, Stephen. I guess it's just you and I lived in San Francisco,
Oh yeah.
and like that'd be like so normal to discuss and such a good
Sure.
idea. But when you're in that tech utopia, Silicon Valley bubble, all of these kind of like slightly absurd things that feel like no one would ever use them or need them sound so good.
I just started watching Silicon Valley again. I just started from the beginning, and that show really demonstrates exactly what you're talking about so
Exactly.
beautifully.
so
Exactly.
That show is goated, and it like still holds up, like better than ever. Actually,
Yeah.
Noah Stahl says AI is telling us to make pizza with glue. Are these the facts that we're looking for in this fact checker?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And we got a donation up here on the screen. Rectum
Nice.
has tipped $69.
Rectum's
If-
back.
If Jensen
Zaddy.
isn't signing my taint, we haven't topped.
God. Can you imagine that? Signing it. That'd be. That'd
be legendary.
That's yeah. That's a
like
whole
you
different
just,
level.
You just plop down in front of him and go full like.
That would
Are
be
we going to
pretty
look at the
toppy.
image?
Yeah, should we? So I hope
I mean-
everyone was able to figure out the Wheel of Fortune mystery in the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's Daddy Jensen. To his credit, he wasn't signing any boobs.
What
He
stage?
was signing
is
a
this?
T-shirt.
What
Absolute rock
This is
star.
late stage, one democracy, and late stage. Yeah, I mean, kind of toppy. Like, if looking
Nah.
back, you're like, you know what? We probably should have considered when the CEO of a semiconductor company was so popular,
New
he was Happy
paradigm.
Gilmoring girls at conferences or women at conferences.
Not a top signal. New paradigm. Beginning.
Do you think this was just like a kind of a weird girl, or like is he kind of a rock star?
He's a rock star.
He's a rock star. He's the
Yeah.
real deal.
Do you think you can't tell from the image, but do you think
People
he's
like-
employing the hover hands method to
No,
not
no,
get
he's
so
got
caught
the
up?
left hand on the breast.
Ooh.
The left hand is resting on the breast.
Okay,
He's
that's how
holding it-
you know this is a top because he's not getting slandered for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like soccer players do this, and it becomes like a meme. Like, did you ever see the one, Eric, where Ronaldinho did a couple, and like it's a whole thing? Brazilian girls coming up to him, and he's like making the
He's
most
like
out
groping.
of it.
He's like
He's
groping.
not being like over the line, but he's enjoying himself. But CEO of a tech company—that's a whole different. I didn't see that
Do you
coming.
think this is the first time in human history that the CEO of a company has signed a pair of boobs?
Ooh, good question.
First time
Like
in
as
history.
part of a work, like at a conference, or
Literally ever in their entire life, probably.
it's a little toppy.
First time in history that Jensen's touched a boob.
No,
Are you kidding me? Look at that guy's
this
wardrobe.
Man, this man slays. I know a guy when I see one.
Dude, he's literally got a closet full of just that jacket. It's a $5,000 leather jacket that he wears
Damn,
every
you're
day.
right. He only
And
wears
it's
that.
definitely not the same one that he wears every day. Yeah.
I want to see like MTV Cribs, just so I could like get a picture into his closet. Opens it up.
Do you guys like that, where the CEO, the signature look, like the
Signature look.
the Steve Jobs, turtleneck, the Jensen leather jacket,
Zuck had the
Zuck
hoodie.
with the hoodie.
I mean,
Yeah.
if that's who you are, that's what I like. I don't like Elizabeth Holmes. Like, I'll start wearing the Steve Jobsian
The turtleneck,
outfit. Yeah, I'm gonna make my voice deeper.
It's got to be authentic, right?
Yeah, if that's you.
It's a red flag. It's like buying like the meme coin derivative. Doesn't work. Never
Right.
works.
Right.
Do you remember the moment you stopped wearing like professional clothes to professional things, and that felt right? You're just like, I don't need to wear a button up. Like,
Yeah,
to this-
I'm just like, I don't know if I'd want to wear the same thing every day, like just generally.
What would be your
but
thing?
I don't know.
Holy
Steven,
jeans?
Steven predicts that I'm gonna. Yeah. Just arrays of jeans with rips in them.
Rippier and rippier as we go.
I mean,
throughout
that's
the
how
years.
these things start, right? You might as well embrace it. I don't know.
What
Kind of
about-
like the colorful tees.
Yeah.
I might be into the
Yeah.
colorful.
Were you going
tees.
for contrast against the black
I'm
background
trying.
today?
I told you, colorful clothing makes you happier. Proven science, bro
All right,
science.
I like it.
Yeah.
Suits you.
Yeah, you had pink last week. It was nice.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
nice.
I like
you guys
the
are very
hot pink.
vibrant on that side of the room.
Well, no, he's got more of an earthy tone going on. We're on the same
Feel
Yeah,
like
we're
a-
not nihilists.
every other day, but
you guys
but
are
Wednesday I wear black. So, but just I don't want to blend in like a ghost into the background.
I feel like I'm a caramel latte today.
Nick had to buy so many extra clothes just for this podcast.
Yeah. Add that to the L sheet for the P and
Oh
L.
my god.
All right, boys, let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Alfalfa Podcast. We are live, like we are every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST on YouTube. If you're listening, come check us out on YouTube. We got Eric, Armand, Steven. I'm Nick. What's up to everyone in the chat? We got a chatty chat today. Love to see it. We got a lot of people in here. False, Noah, Pilgart, Tim. Let's see. Edmund, of course. Tyler. What's up, everyone? Matt Metzler. Saw you in there earlier. Nefarious. Dan Simmons. Corby. Okay. Yeah, like the video if you haven't already. If you're joining us live, like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. All the links are at alfalfapod.com. You can support the pod by getting involved in the super chat, just like Rectum did. We'll get a little replay
Thank
going
you,
on
Daddy.
there. Yeah, thank you.
Rectum.
Yeah, you can also support the pod. Share an episode with friends. That's how most people find the pod, and it certainly works when you guys share them out or tweet it. And check out the on-chain collectibles, pods.media/alfalfa. Collect them all. What are we drinking today, Steven? We have like a little treat here.
Yeah, and which one am I supposed to go next after the?
Good
which
question.
Which red first?
So I started you off with a Chablis.
Huh?
Not just any Chablis, but a Premier Cru.
Yes, I was really hoping for that. Yes.
What's the alpha on that? You
Yes.
got to go.
Go one more time on that.
Premier Cru.
Wow. Wow.
How'd I do? Any French people in
I
the
did.
chat?
Could care less. It sounded great to me.
Yeah, so I was just in Burgundy. Chablis is a subset of Burgundy. They have like a similar kind of organizational system that Burgundy does. So French wine is like interesting because you can learn a lot about the wine just by reading the label. Like it's not like here where they just put a unicorn on the bottle and nothing. You're like, that's a pretty picture. You got like your regional wine, Vin de Burgundy, and then you got the village wine, which is all vineyards in a specific village, and then you can have wine from one specific plot of land, and then you have your Premier Cru and your Grand Cru.
The Grand
At the
Cru
top,
is the
top
top of the
1%. So the Grand Cru, if you want to break the bank. But you can hack the system a little bit because you can kind of look on the map and see where everything is. And there's sometimes there's like a premier plot, and it's right next to the Grand. You're
Oh,
like, how
that's-
much worse could it be?
That's a
How much worse could
value.
it
That's a
be?
value play.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah, Chablis is a little different. They have Petit Chablis, and then they have the Premier and the Grand Cru. If you wanna Chablis shop, but this is Chardonnay, and I love Burgundy Chard because it tastes nothing like Napa Chard. Like Napa Chard, I think is disgusting, and it tastes like just somebody like melted some butter in your glass. And
Concur.
I hate it. So if you think you hate Chardonnay, try some Burgundy Chard. It's pretty good.
Try
pretty
Premier
good.
Cru.
Yeah,
'Cause this one was good.
Just send it straight to the top. And then next up, I got a little Sicilian wine for Armand here. It's going to be basically a Nebbiolo, and this is a Côte de Rhône. You should drink the Sicilian wine next because it's a
Yeah.
much better wine. We're all going to be sauced by the time we drink the last one. Never drink the best wine last.
Oh, I fucked that up already.
Yeah. Never. Just you drink it right off the bat. Yeah, just go Sicily.
I fucked up.
Yeah. Anyway, enjoy, boys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, man.
Yeah, salute.
So welcome.
Can we get a cheers?
Nick really stepped up the bar last week, so I had to.
Cheers, amigos. Cheers. I'm not gonna be able to reach that.
Popped another back.
Thank you.
Oh my God,
we're
poor Nick.
All right, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, ZBiotics. I got some direct mail from ZBiotics, so I got some new material to work with now.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so what do we got here? Enjoy tomorrow again. Is it? So go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa and tell them we sent you. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. Don't waste another day. It's your pre-alcohol probiotic drink. Perfect for any occasion. Weddings, impromptu happy hours, business trips, corporate retreats, vacations, music festivals, even. And I realized we got a shout out on Twitter because of this. So someone was asking, has anyone tried ZBiotics? And our very own Matt Metzler, .eth, who's in the chat today, responded on Twitter, said, I've been a ZBiotics subscription where I get 6 a month for almost a year now. For me, it's a game changer. I'd say 75 to 85% improvement in the way I feel after drinking.
That's about
Thanks
right.
to the Alfalfa Pod for introducing it to me. And thank
It's
you,
right
Matt,
there.
for the
It's
shout
right
out.
around 78%.
Matt could have gone the extra mile and dropped the link.
It's never good enough, huh?
Just kidding.
I had a wedding this weekend, and as per usual, this saved my ass.
Attaboy.
What a wedding, by the way! Oh my god!
Did you fly on the private jet up there
Bro.
with Adrian?
I did not.
Oh, what a blunder.
Nor on the way back.
Wasn't it like 1,000-person wedding?
It was the sickest wedding I've ever been to.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
so he
bet.
he basically has like his own ranch. It's I don't know. He owns like half the state of Oregon at this point. And just built his own wedding venue from scratch, like the whole thing, like a whole
Barn.
dude. The reception is like on this mountain. You're like looking over this beautiful scenery, and it's just massive tent, and like this huge bar in the middle. There were like 15 bartenders. Like anytime you wanted to drink, there's just like 6 free bartenders. You just go up, they make you anything. Had like a dumpling station, a taco station, a sushi station, like a drive-through burger station, just like all the things. It was like so over the top and
Damn.
awesome. I drank so much booze. Played a lot of dice in the downtime. Got like the gambling itch
It
a
was
little
so
bit
it was
again.
multi-7-figure wedding.
Oh yeah, like it was probably pushing. It was probably 8.
Yeah.
It was probably like low 8.
God damn.
It was
God damn.
awesome.
Yeah, he is on.
Highly
he is on a
recommend.
level that.
Highly recommend having rich friends.
Like of all
Yeah.
the things of that whole
He's-
story, you had to fit in that you like threw dice in like the back alley. Like, what are you talking about?
No, we threw dice in tuxedos. The band they had was unbelievable.
I
Like it
saw
was like
that.
this like 25-piece band, and like everybody in the freaking band, I swear to God, like won like a Grammy. Like there's this like the man. I don't know. There's so many of them singing, but like I fell in love with this one particular guy with this. Oh my God, he's the most soulful voice. They did everything. They did hip hop. They're full blown rapping. They were doing like EDM covers.
Oh,
And
shit.
they sounded like incredible.
Kind of like Jimmy Fallon's band or something. Like
This band shits on Jimmy Fallon.
shits on the Roots.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Root's got nothing on this band. I stand by that statement.
All right.
Still kind of caught off guard with the dice thing. What kind of game? What kind of dice game are you playing?
Okay, so we play this game called, I actually don't even know the name of it, but the object of the game is to roll to like 100. And anytime you roll a 1, your score resets, and you can stop at any time, and that becomes your floor. So you could roll up to like 20, and then you stop, right? And then the next time you roll, you could add another 12 on it, and then you stop. So anytime you roll a 1, you reset to your floor, and anytime you roll snake eyes, you go all the way down to 0. And anytime anybody gets to 100 and decides to stop, then everybody at the table has like a free rebuttal to try to get
Is
them.
this like the same kind of dice people play in like the projects in Queens, or is this like a different game?
Man, I hope so. Because
That'd
if
be
not,
like I just imagine
not
like
big
you know
enough
like
for a game.
Nas like growing up
Yeah.
when he was playing dice.
I think they're playing craps.
Yeah,
Like-
Steven,
like
was
what-
it the same?
Figure Rhode Island, Queens, you know,
we didn't
swamp,
have
same,
we
same,
didn't have
same, but
we didn't have
different.
dice on the swamp. We just like shot groundhogs. different kind of game.
All right, well, let's get a little alfalfa round. Who wants to go first? Anyone?
I got something. I don't have to go first.
I got a
though.
quick one.
Go for it.
I've been buying more ETH. Big surprise on
Oh,
this
wow.
podcast.
Wow.
Whoa,
Wow.
groundbreaking.
Huge groundbreaking.
Hold on, let me drop the balloons.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
Chad
just
is in
shock.
shock.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, thank
Unbelievable
you.
alpha.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing.
It's a good reminder.
It's I just wanted to say, like, I
Yeah.
started last couple weeks. Since May 26th?
Your risk is down.
I feel better about it now
better.
than I did when it was like half the price. It
Yeah,
feels
you
weird,
didn't like
but
it
like
at 1,200.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, just going every day, putting my daily allotment, keep the doctor away.
Remember that time you announced to the world you were buying Ethereum while the CEO of NVIDIA was signing?
Yeah, remember that time?
Remember that
That
time?
might have been the top. Anyway, that's mine.
Nice. Am I doing Rhonda now, or is
Yeah,
that?
do
Yeah,
it.
do Rhonda now.
Well,
So
okay.
share-
I got a
share-
little
share
one,
what
and
you've
then,
learned.
and then the Rhonda one. So, little one. Fundraising as a founder and CEO is extremely, extremely difficult. I want to do more of a share and maybe more of like a deep dive on this at some point, because I think it'd be like really valuable for any startup founders out there. But there is a tool that I recently discovered. The reason that it's so difficult is because it is an incredibly manual, laborious process. The process of identifying the right funds and investors that are fit for you, that are active, that are investing a certain percentage of their funds into your stage, pre-seed, seed, series A, that are investing into your segment, B2B or consumer or whatever, that are active and are actually writing checks frequently enough to make it worth your time to have a conversation. Oh, because they'll meet with you, but are they writing checks? All of these require an incredible amount of like detective work to figure it out. There's a platform I recently discovered called Metal, and I've started using it over the last 3 weeks, and it saved me a ton of time. This is a company that came out of YC, a startup that launched a few months ago. And I immediately just like read the copy of the value proposition, was like, yep, that's my problem. That's exactly what I need help with. I immediately said yes, signed up, been using it, been talking directly to the founder, super smart guy. He actually raised $120 million in his last startup, and it didn't end up succeeding. However, and it failed because of it was a logistics thing and it was a COVID thing. But he learned a ton about fundraising, and so this platform is designed to help founders do that. So my alfalfa is that, and because it's early stage, I can actually make introductions to the founder directly for people if they want a demo or onboarding. So if you're a startup founder and you want to use it, check out metal.so, and if it looks good to you, just email me.
Is that METAL or METTLE?
No. METAL,
Metal.
like the metal.
Okay. I was going to say, fun fact, the lights behind us that don't work are produced by a company on Amazon called Metal.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
But METTLE. Don't worry.
No,
Different.
METAL, and I think my email Armon@Steno AI.
Great job on the lights, by the way. They are working.
Stop it. They're probably got like 5 minutes left and then they're gone.
Top signal.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that more later.
But yeah, good share. I like that tool.
Yeah. So the really interesting thing, like, one of the great things about Twitter lately for me, which is funny, it's a platform I used to not even use.
You kind of despised it. for
I
a while.
kind of despised it. But Elon X is better. I don't know. Or maybe the times changed. I don't know. Something changed.
Maybe you've changed.
I'm in the
Maybe I've
Elon
changed.
X is better camp. I know a lot of people
It is better.
don't like to say that.
It is better. So, Rhonda Patrick had an interview recently. Let's pull it up here. Okay.
Give us the
the
protocol.
alpha is. We talk a lot about supplements. We talk a lot about exercise. We talk a lot about like, Peter Attia's work around like zone 2 and zone 5. And basically, this breaks it down into more detail and talks about a study. It's an intense one. It was a 2-year regimen, 5 to 6 hours a week. It will reverse 20 years of age-related deterioration, which is like the stiffness of the heart in a 50-year-old. As you get older, as you get to that age, 50
If
to
you're
70.
a sedentary.
If you're
50-year-old.
sedentary, the heart becomes more stiff and more small. This reverses up to 20 years of that.
Need that.
Pretty good.
So
so they're going to reverse like
it's
8
a
months
2-year
ago.
protocol, and here's what it is.
Okay.
Can you
To
give me a zoom in
simplify
while
it-
you go in, by the way?
Yeah, I'll zoom in for you.
Thanks.
There we go. So basically, what it is it's the standard old. What Peter Attia, I think I could be slightly incorrect here, but to make it simple for people, this is pretty much what Peter Attia talks about with his VO2 max training. This is that zone 5. This is where you want to do that interval training where you hit a 95% work capacity for 3 to 4 minutes and then you're off for 3 to 4 minutes. So what you want to do is like sprint or row or swim or something like that as hard as you can, basically be exhausted for 3 to 4 minutes, and then stop, rest, regain your energy, and go back into it, and do this in 4 rounds. The beautiful thing about this, which I've been doing more lately, and I need to get better at this, but you can get that workout done in less than half an hour pretty easily. I mean, 4x4 is, pretty quick. So you do that. Then you do a recovery day of aerobics, which is 20 to 30 minutes. That could be light yoga. That could be, you want to be more in like that, I guess you'd call it like a zone 2, but it's lighter. It's a recovery day. Then you want to be doing an hour or more per week of endurance exercises, which is more of that like, you are moving and you're likely in zone 2 and it's difficult to talk, but you can talk. Like that's the sweet spot where it's like when you're talking, you're kind of huffing and puffing, and people can tell. Like if you were doing a phone call, it'd be like very obvious that you're doing something, but you can still get the words out.
Yeah, but this is the one I hate the most. Just like boring, steady state
Repetitive.
cardio, sitting there either like jogging or I don't know, on a rower. Or
Yeah.
I found that like shadow boxing, if you can stay at that 120 beats per minute, it's a little more fun than.
That's hard because I think you'd be above that at shadow boxing. Like
But you keep the heart rate monitor on, you can just kind of like tone it down when you
have
see
to
it.
be pretty chill though, right?
Yeah,
You
super
can't be
chill,
really
smooth,
swinging.
yeah.
Like, you're not doing that.
No, none of that.
Yeah, but something moving, whatever works for you,
So have you added up the days here? Is this working out every day?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. You're probably taking you don't have to be working out every day. The way they measured it is 5 to 6 hours of total exercise per week. I think when Peter Attia looks at it, he looks at those 2 things, right? He specifically looks at you do the zone 2, which you do a 45-minute workout at zone 2 a few times a week. I forget the total. I think it's like 2 hours. You want to get to 2 hours within that zone 2 time. And then you want to hit 1 to 2 intense zone 5 high interval training exercise per week. And this also adds, but he does also say, I know I'm sort of mixing the Attia stuff with this Rhonda Patrick stuff.
But it's good when you get 2 different experts kind of
Sort of
coming
like-
together.
Right.
I think that's
Yeah.
the alpha, baby.
Yeah, and to clarify, this isn't Rhonda Patrick's work. It's the work of Dr. Benjamin Levine, who's apparently a legend in exercise physiology. And then, last but not least, strength training, which Attia also argues is more important as you age. Maintain muscle mass, extremely important as you age. And if you had to choose between the 2, he's like, it's a difficult choice, but you want to make sure you maintain the muscle.
And
as
the
you
bone
age.
density.
Of course, you want to keep the heart healthy. You want to do the exercise.
Is
on
it
the
recommended?
cardio,
Is it
but-
recommended to lift until your back pops, Nick?
Yeah, they definitely do more
It's too soon, brother. Just let me sit here in pain. God,
He's just dying.
don't layer it
I
on.
don't see whacking a wiffle ball on here either. It's not looking good for me.
I think you'd
But,
call that zone 2 light.
that's a
Yeah.
zone 2. Maybe zone 1.5.
Yeah.
Buddy. Come out. We'll
More
see.
like a recovery
We'll
day.
see. Come out with your little heart monitor.
No, one-on-one with you is brutal. So I'll admit that.
Nick called it a recovery day.
All right, well, I like that share because that's a good cross section of people we've been following, and it actually has a protocol instead of just work out
it's
more.
really good to hear this, continually get sort of evidenced with new studies. And I mean, I think it's intense what's required, but the benefits are incredible. To avoid, even if you sort of get to a point in your life where you have to deal with disease or something comes up, people that are in this level of condition and shape tend to overcome those things so much more easily. Or even, for example, we talked about this separately with a friend of ours, dealing with something, but then having to do a surgery. You're so much more likely to perform well with that surgery, to recover more quickly from that surgery. The benefits are just so abundant, and it's all about health span. It's all about health span and, of course, lifespan. But I mean, health span is so incredibly important. So, Eric, you're on I'm going to exercise every day tip as your new alfalfa.
Yeah, dude. Since I got back from London, the moment I touched down, I went straight to the gym. I'm every day in the gym. This is my goal. Like,
What was the
how long can I
feeling
take it?
though? Like, what was the reason that you hit that where you were like, "This is the right sustainable way"? Like,
don't
this
know.
is what I want to do.
I don't know, but how long can I take this thing? Like, what if it's every day for the rest of my life? I'm in the gym.
I mean, it won't be.
Might be.
I mean, it depends how you define it, but there are days where we can't get out of bed,
Yeah.
and we're really, really sick. And on those days, I think we should give ourselves a break.
So I thought about this.
But I think don't ever go 2 days.
No,
That's the key.
No, I thought about this. Okay, so like, if you get COVID or something and you like can't work out,
Right.
I thought about this a little bit. So, build a bank. You build a bank. The bank has 5 days in the bank, but you can only get something in the hopper if you do a 3 a day. 2 a day is not enough.
Whoa.
2 a day is a normal day.
Okay.
3 a day?
3 a day, but it's not like 3 gyms. It's like I could like go to the gym, I could go for a jog, and play tennis later. So that's like 3 things in a day. I add 1 to the bank, and then
I like that.
Yeah.
I think
Science.
there needs to be like, a clear rule for it. Well, what do you think about like never miss 2 in a row? Don't break the chain.
I want to never miss 1, but I have this idea that I might miss 1. 9 days in, so who
Yeah.
knows?
All right, keep
Yeah.
it rolling. Keep it rolling. All
I
right.
think setting that bar though is important, where you're like, I'm not going to miss.
So I
one.
mentioned this on like an earlier pod, like pod 1, but like I write down on a calendar, like a physical calendar, a dot where I actually work out, and the masculine desire to not break the chain of
Yeah.
dots is so strong that like I don't think I'm ever gonna
It's the
break.
same thing Duolingo does. Yeah.
Yeah, just gamify
Seinfeld
it.
did
Good
that.
technique.
Having one of those big calendars on the wall where you just draw a big X on the day.
Yeah.
That's another way to do it.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
We're going to need proof in the Discord. Dots connected.
Yeah,
Are you in the
Yeah,
wellness
perfect
channel?
dots.
I am the wellness channel.
Wow.
All right, Steven, what do you got for
Wellness is underrated
alfalfa
best
round.
channel.
Armand, I'm gonna need you to stop asking follow-up questions.
No, I like this topic.
you got anything this week?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
No, I'm on vacation, buddy.
All right, we're going to keep it rolling.
Yeah, we'll keep it rolling.
All right, can we I haven't talked to you guys about it since can we do another Roaring Kitty, just touch on it, cuz I mean, this guy's going full balls
Okay,
to
so
the wall.
yeah, you guys did like, Roaring Kitty posted a meme.
Yeah, but now this is different.
Now it's like Roaring Kitty posted 120,000 GME calls.
Yeah.
Like-
All right. So yeah, I
This
think
is wild.
on Saturday or Sunday he posted roughly $180 million, like
With a reverse Uno card.
Casual.
yeah.
With the reverse
can
Uno was so powerful.
You can show this.
So yeah, he's got $180 million, mostly in options, some in common stock, and
He was initially mostly in stock. I think he initially had like about 120 million in stock and then 60 mil in options. But
so Monday at Gaps Open, like from 20 something to 40, it finishes lower than that, but he's up 85 million on Monday.
Oh my god.
So you're like, wow, good play. Like
trade.
I hope you were the one selling that all the way down from 40 to wherever it finished.
Sure as hell wasn't.
No, he posts he posts like the following day, he's still fucking long after going up 85 million. And I calculated today, I think he's up around 120 million ish at the end of close today. I was looking at the price of the options he has. And this guy bought options like 3 weeks out. Like the theta decay is massive. Like this is full degenerate.
he's
I mean,
he's got
we
$20
joke around.
greatest
calls.
financial stories of all time.
It's unbelievable.
Pretty sure
I
he
mean,
likes the stock.
His OG
guys.
trade was like it was like 50 grand initially, right? Like the OG
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah.
And now he has outs to become a billionaire on this trade.
I don't know, man. I mean, this is intense.
Like this can't be his money.
Okay, so that's what I want to talk about first. So he had what, like 20 something million when maybe he finished up last time?
Yeah, max.
So did he? I was thinking that it must not be his money. But then remember, like 3-4 weeks ago, the stock ran up and it was a pretty good run up. Like, did he 10x?
That's when he made his
memery?
money.
And then now he's using that 200 million?
I keep
Guys,
forgetting
this man
we
like
can't just follow
400x.
his
You
wallet.
don't think he did like a 6x after that?
I don't know. I mean, that's a big run up. He could have money with him, but it doesn't seem like it.
I wish this was crypto, where we could just like watch his wallets.
Oh my god! Yeah,
Yeah.
just follow
Like,
his,
follow the
follow his
trail.
trades.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, when is he going to close this? This is insane.
So here's the position and his update in
Oh, I
Reddit.
posted his his Reddit
I have his Reddit
username
here,
so you
too.
can see. This is last post. So June 3rd, which
3
was 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Here's 2 days ago.
Yeah, he was up 85 million.
Guys,
Nope.
we live in the best timeline. If this show was done in like 1972, what the hell would we be talking about? Be like, so I did acid yesterday.
That's what we'd be talking about.
There's like a new disco thing, I think. Like what?
Pretty
Steven,
sure we
that's-
have talked
Steven,
about
that's
that.
offensive. That's offensive to our parents' generation. They had nothing to do.
Parents didn't do this.
Yeah, they
this,
didn't.
This shit's
I've
hilarious.
literally talked about doing acid on this show.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That would just be our default. It's like, so you guys
no,
get,
it is. It
so
is.
you guys get drafted?
It is. It is a really amazing time.
And then it looks like Wall Street Journal reported that E-Trade considering of shutting this man's account down because of what could be market
Boo.
manipulation.
He's just too good at trading. Sorry, sorry, you
Yeah,
broke the
that's
game.
That's literally code for we don't want to lose.
You
money.
beat the game.
Yeah.
Put it down. Put your
Yeah,
controller
so
down.
so as the is E-Trade the kind of market maker here? Like, did they have to go and then buy enough common stock?
E-Trade's not a market maker.
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
who's market
Well,
making this.
Does Morgan Stanley own
Yes.
E-Trade?
I was just gonna ask, is E-Trade still around? Like I thought they got
Yo,
absorbed
hey, that's
ages ago.
I have my dad's retirement account. on
yeah,
E-Trade.
sorry.
It's offensive.
Sorry.
Wait, so he actually made like $80 million in one day.
Oh yeah,
And he's up, I think,
On
120
paper.
million now.
On paper.
and then
Yeah.
sold nothing.
Sold nothing.
Just
Didn't even
day
shave
closes,
off.
nothing.
Didn't shave off a million or two.
Like, get his
or-
cost
last
out.
time, what was the result last time? It was the 20 million you're talking about.
I think. I mean, he started with like 50,000, and I think his last. I mean, you could show there is April 16, 2021.
Oh, here it
final
is.
update. It's right there.
20 million.
Or that was his total gain. So total value was
19.9.
$34 million. In that.
Oh, 34.
What a trade.
So he made almost 3 times what he came out with in 2021 in one day, and he hasn't sold.
He took an exorbitant amount of risk for it. But yeah, I mean,
Can we talk through the risk and how this plays out? Just help me understand. Like,
it's not a real stock anymore. Like it does not trade.
There's some like weird scenarios right now, and like maybe Eric can talk to this, right? But when you buy options, you effectively have the rights to exercise those options and take delivery of the stock at the price that you bought the option at. So, for example, he bought I think $20 GMEs. I think he paid $5 for them. So everything above $25 roughly like is gravy for him. GME's at like 31.64, I think, right after today's close or something like that. So he's up like 100% on his options right now. And as I said, I think he owns 120,000 call options, which
So you multiply
times
that by
100
for the
so
shares.
I think he has the right to 12 million shares of GME if he exercises. So the thing people are talking about right now is like, what happens if he exercises? Like, do the shares exist to even give to him, and what happens when like he exercises and then the broker like E-Trade is like, we can't get these shares,
Right? Like, are someone selling these naked to him?
like well, this is like kind of like what people are speculating, why is he doing this, what's happening, and like one of the things people talk about is that like, oh, there's all these people like naked shorting. It's the thing people talk about in the finance system, right? It's not blockchain. We can't see where everything is all the time. We got T+2 settlement. Oh, now we have T+1. Thank you, Gary. So like it's kind of obfuscated in a way, and I like the first thing is like, if he exercises, right, people have to go out and get those shares, right? So you could have them called back from you. I think like if you're shorting, like you have to go out in the open market and buy them. It could create some like insane squeeze. But then ultimately you could get this like kind of failure to deliver moment.
What happens in that
I
scenario?
don't think anything happens because I feel like the market maker has already bought the shares
Yeah,
to hedge their delta.
Well, to be clear, like failure to deliver is a thing that happens on like a daily basis, but not for this size.
No, but no one's going to sell that size naked, right? Right?
There's a rumor going around that the market makers didn't hedge this trade because by hedging it, they would like tip off everything that was happening because they'd be hedging such a gigantic amount and they put targets on their back. Just a rumor.
The reason why I'm like nonplussed by this whole thing is because I've actually seen what happens when you break the stock market. We saw that in 2021 when he did this the first time. What the DTCC does when you break the stock market is they get all brokerage houses to collude to gray out the buy button on the stock and only allow people to sell.
Yeah, you know
And-
who lost $5,000 when that happened? This guy.
$5,000.
Woo.
$5,000.
Wah.
That's right.
I lost a condo in a day.
I was just, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll try out this Robinhood thing. Just deposit some. Yeah, I'll just long some calls. Insta disabled. I was long for like 15 minutes and it was over.
One day I want
I
to tell
was
you
so
guys.
mad.
I want to tell you guys my whole journey on GameStop one day, but not today. But
Okay.
that was
All right,
a
teaser.
that was gnarly. But ended up break even. But
All right.
Still gnarly.
make
You're
condo.
You're just
lose
selling
condo.
selling naked calls during the biggest short squeeze of all time.
That's how it started.
Oh, nice.
And then I flipped long.
Ooh.
I flipped long with everything I had.
Oh my god. Okay, that's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
The end.
The end. The
All right,
end.
guys. So what happens? Does he close this out? Does he see it till expiration? And is he in the money?
Yeah, he's gonna do it. He has to do it.
So if he closes out,
When's expiration?
In 16 days.
28th.
To
so here's
21st.
the problem, like
Okay.
because
And
like,
what needs to happen?
he needs
Well-
to be over $25 a share.
Well,
Okay.
no, it has to be over 20 to exercise.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, his break even's 25. So yeah, it has to stay above 25.
So what happens if he closes early? Then that creates the momentum in the opposite direction because the hedge gets removed. So,
Assuming they have the common stock, they don't need it anymore. They sell it as he starts to sell the options, and the thing unpins and tanks. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
so he
Kind of
can't
sad
sell.
I didn't participate in this trade.
Really? I'm happy. I'm just on the sidelines, just watching this as pure entertainment.
Yeah,
can't-
I had no FOMO.
I have no fun.
I had a little bit of FOMO.
It's too much.
A little bit of FOMO.
It's too much.
It's fun to be like
you lose your
It's
shirt.
fun to just be like a part of something, you know.
It is.
But this guy's balls are just like
Oh my god, dude! I
elephantitis
promise you all
level
one
brass
thing:
balls.
if I end up with $200 million, I'm not putting it all in
It's like
GameStop.
3 week call options. What a fucking.
Does he have a
savage.
wife? What is his wife saying?
I think he has a wife and kids, man. I think he's like a normal guy. Like,
Armand, what would your wife say if you made $200 million and you put it all on GameStop calls?
If I made the 200 million and then did that,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
No more podcasts for you.
I don't know.
I guess. Sorry. I guess you made $30 million and then you decided
yeah,
to run it up.
Made 30. I think she. Yeah, no, it's insane. It's just
fucking insane.
You probably wouldn't be telling her though. You'd be
No,
like,
I
"Hi, honey,
don't
I'm
think he's
just
telling
putting
her,
a couple
yeah.
trades in here."
I wouldn't say
Yeah.
anything. No chance. No
Can't
chance
say anything
I would
until
say
it's
that.
over.
I just think, yeah, we're assuming that all of that principle is on the line, and some that he even borrowed or other people's money are involved.
I choose to believe it's all his. Doesn't make sense to me.
Would
that
like to
he-
believe that it's not all being risked, like from that original 30.
I feel like there's no way people
5.
gave him money and then he's just sitting there with like $90 million paper profits and they're like, yeah, don't sell anything.
Counterpoint.
true.
Counterpoint on the telling the wife thing. When I lost a condo in a day, it was soothing to have like a
You're talking
nurturing.
like a condo in
nurturing
condo
voice.
in Tijuana or a condo in downtown here.
It was a downtown San Diego condo.
Ooh. Ooh. I've lost a similar amount of money, and the first thing I did is I went home. I talked to my fiance and just like, I just need to tell someone
Yeah.
what just happened.
It's actually quite nice.
And she was like, are we okay? I'm like, yeah, we're fine. But like, it's just a lot of money.
Wait, this is a funny conversation actually. Like, what was your immediate reaction when you lost an amount of money so massive, like all at once, that you never before thought you would actually be able to do that?
Well,
like,
first
did you?
of all- First of all, I was like that meme of like the trader that's like the pencils like smeared all over the place. I was like 3 weeks in a row just like not sleeping. So I was that guy. And then when it ended, it was like, well, babe, can we go get a sandwich?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's good. That's a healthy reaction.
Yeah, it was great. And she's like, well, we're good. Anyway, how's your day going? I'm like, I just told you what happened. She's like, all right, well, it's all good. I'm like, oh,
That's fucking
Okay.
epic. She's like, she asked you first if it's good. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's good.
I'm like, it'll be all right.
But here's what happened. She's like, but it's good.
yeah, but we're all right. I'm like, yeah, we're fine. But it
They're
sucks.
just thinking like, are we okay?
Right.
Not about like the what you lost or
Right.
the opportunity. It's an
Yeah,
opportunity.
I just think about the
lost.
opportunity
It's an
cost. I'm like,
opportunity
Jesus.
It's not even an opportunity cost, but opportunity lost. And it's like, that just sucks. It's painful to think about. It's like, have you ever sat and added up like all the airdrops you've ever gotten that you didn't sell at the top and all the NFTs that
No,
were
I
at the
always
top
sell.
when you didn't? No, you don't. You know, everyone wants to believe they always sold it perfectly. But if you sit and add it up, for everyone it's a little bit different, but it's
Yeah, when you add
it's
those all up, it's
painful.
different. But when you lose it, like in a very quick amount of time, that's different. You just need to go
Yeah.
talk to someone and be like, "I'm gonna lay on the ground next to you. I'm okay, but like I just need to.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna lay
Like,
here."
there's Such a Nick response to this.
No, but that's actually that's so
He's
accurate.
just looking there. He's like, huh, all of my money's gone. Man, that's a bummer. I think I need to go lay down.
Can I lay down next to you? No, that's exactly where I was. Like, you mind if we just like take the curtains in, just be in the dark for a while?
Oh my god! Have you guys ever seen the old Family Guy episode where like Peter breastfeeds Stewie at one point?
I think so.
Yeah, and like Stewie like is like sucking on his nipple, and at one point he just goes like,
He like realizes.
and he just starts like slowly bringing it up. That's what I do.
Oh, I'm so glad you just said all that because I promised weird tonight, and that is
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
The title promised weird.
Yeah.
You actually nailed it
Yeah.
on Stewie's reaction.
Yeah,
Just like
Let's keep the titty
shock,
theme.
shuddering.
and I go,
rest of
I
the
go through stages too. Like there's a stage 2 where I would just be like she's shaking, and then I like break something, and then I will like call to the heavens, like, why God did you do this to, you know, I go through like all the stages of grief. It's
I can't even imagine breastfeeding.
as,
Literally
as-
can't imagine.
We're talking
man,
about
that's
loss.
It is
Not,
not-
it's an analogy.
it is
We're not
a
actually.
comfortable like feeling.
I thought you meant like sucking on it.
No, I can imagine that.
Wait, how do you know? Have you ever had anybody just latch onto your nipple?
Oh yeah,
Just like really.
just try to
Just-
rip it right off.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But
I
that
didn't
constant,
think I was gonna get
like,
a yes to that.
Have you seen a baby like suck on a nipple? Like they really latch.
I've actually never seen that.
They really latch.
I think women these days don't like broadcast that.
Oh yeah, it's like there's no getting that baby off. Like that's like it's being sucked, and
Pummeled.
pummeled. I would never want it. I would never want any of it. Feel bad for every mom's nipples out there.
I just had the worst thought in my head, and I'm not gonna say it.
I'm thinking about our next topic, and there's zero transition.
You sure you don't want to say it? Steve?
I literally cannot say it. Or maybe I'll tell it to you.
Should there
after.
be an after hours pod where we do say those things?
This pod would have to be such a
OnlyFans?
high
Fans?
frequency for
Overton
me to
window
say
of the
this.
pod just keeps increasing anyway. So why don't
What
you
if
just
the whole
can't
pod
say
was just after hours?
yeah? What's the holding back, brother? You know.
No, I can't say this.
All right. All right. So it's a pod about teasing. Yeah, first you tease me, now you're teasing me. All right.
Look,
man.
I say a lot of things on this pod. I have
All
to-
right. All right.
I need another drink. Can you? What's the last
Oh,
wine
so
we're going
this
to?
last one is a Gamay. Have you ever had a Gamay?
No. Well, maybe I have. I just, like I said, church.
It's
Pick
like a
the red
poor
color.
man's Pinot, easy
Okay.
drinking. It's not grippy. By the way, when I was drinking wine, like one of the best adjectives I was given was to describe a wine as grippy.
Do the tannins have anything to do with grippiness?
Yes, it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's all about the tannin.
Oh,
yeah, grippy. Although every time you said that, I had these like FTX meme flashbacks on Twitter, and it just took me to a bad place. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, would you like some? Gamay?
Yes, please.
I'm trying to
Wow.
figure out what the FTX
I feel like
grippy meme was.
we had a-
Oh, no, don't.
No, you don't want to go there either.
After hours.
It's nice to have an in-house sommelier.
Are we getting serious for a
Yeah,
second?
yeah. So
Oh, this is gonna be a fun segue for you.
okay, so the political news of the week has been Trump getting a conviction. I think
Political prisoner.
34 of them, and in the United States, there's a lot of talk about prosecuting your political opponents. Then I saw a like
good strategy.
mine.
Were those felonies, by the way?
They
They
are.
are
You
now.
betcha.
They're
That's
misdemeanors that got
so
converted
gnarly.
to felonies.
That's so gnarly.
They worked their way through the court system to
Okay.
34 counts of felonies.
make
So
it
that's
federal.
That's a
baby.
fascinating thing, but what blew my mind just 50 miles south of where we're recording this, in Mexico, during this recent election cycle, there were 37 assassinations of political candidates. So we had it up on the screen. It says 36. That's already outdated. So that was published like 3 days ago. It's already outdated. So apparently we now prosecute political opponents in this country, but in Mexico, apparently, they just get murfed.
So this is I believe like mayoral and higher, right?
This is in
Yes.
2024 alone.
No presidential candidates.
No.
I don't think have been assassinated, but
But it's
says-
on the
if you're a-
table. It's
if you're a
obvious it's
mayor-
on the
Hold on,
table.
this tweet also says one more than during 2021 when 36 candidates were killed. So like assassinating your candidates in Mexico just seems to be like as normal as having coffee in the morning.
I mean, this is just like caught me in a stupor because like I hadn't heard of this ever before.
Got me in a stupor.
Well, first of all, this caught me in a stupor as well. I've never heard of these stats ever. Like, who does? Who hears of this?
No, but and we're
Who
like,
runs? Like, who
Yeah.
runs for office in
You're-
Mexico? Are you
You're
insane?
like actually a martyr if you even run.
and
Are you?
we
Because no one's heard of you.
we know of someone whose aunt was a mayor in
Right.
Michoacan, and she got assassinated like 2 days ago.
Yeah, his aunt.
His aunt.
That's insane.
So this is like,
This is real.
yeah, and
This
I mean
is
we're
real.
How's he
bitching
doing?
and moaning, which
We're 1 degree from this.
How's
person.
he doing? Like, is he okay? Or pretty beat up about that?
yeah, as you can imagine, I mean like it's kind of like not only sad but shocking.
It's crazy that we have like a actual tie to this story.
Right. But you know, I've been complaining all day, like talking about this subject of like political prosecution and diving into it, and then like I hear this and I'm like, oh, maybe I should just shut
It
up.
gives you a little perspective.
Yeah.
Like, could be worse.
no, this is the first step to Joe Biden's America, Nick.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Wait,
I
what-
think it's the opposite.
Wait, what?
That's a double take.
Wait, what? I'm like, oh yeah. What happens first? I'm sorry, I don't get it. The assassinations and then more, or
no,
the
no,
political
first
prosecutions?
You jail your political opponent, and then
Okay.
you assassinate everybody. I think is the
Mm.
flow chart.
So, are we on that path? Is that what you're saying?
No, but
Okay.
Fuck, I really hope not.
I mean,
Fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty. Here's the other. This election is the bloodiest election in modern history. After a candidate running for local office was murdered on Friday, and it's 37 now. Well, 38 now with.
And so, what does it mean for the people who actually survive and even get elected? Like, are you then by default in
Oh,
a
and
cartel's
this is-
pocketbook?
this
Like, is
is
that what that
actually-
means?
Just side note, this is on the back of. I think most people know this now. Claudia, I forgot her last name, is now the
Sheinbaum?
president
Yeah.
of Mexico. First female president in Mexico.
she's Jewish too.
First female president of Jewish descent as well. So yeah, I forget which side of her family, certain percentage Jewish, but the whole thing is really cool on that side. There were 2 female frontrunners, so
I wonder
one
if
of
she's
them was
corrupt.
going to win.
Well, that's my question. If,
She
Are you
she met with Larry Fink. the
Like, are
other
you
day,
kidding me?
so-
Are you kidding
I don't
me?
know.
Everybody who's running gets assassinated. Like, of course she's corrupt, right?
I don't know. Maybe Larry talked to the cartel and was like, "No, this is my territory." Maybe it goes like cartel.
they were at the
Larry
weekly
Fink.
cabal meeting, and he.
You joke, but there probably is one.
Well, I think it's a reminder of like something we've talked about before. Most of the world lives under authoritarian regimes. Most of the world is not living in an open democratic society. Most of the world is numb to and accustomed to, politics being bloody and murderous. I think we just take that for granted in the United States.
I wanna-
and Europe.
I think a lot of people take that for granted. That's why I was like so shook up last week because I was like, you don't just get here like overnight. You do a couple things and then you wake up one day. You're like, wait, how did this happen? You know, like people take the U.S. for granted
Big time.
as though it's like the norm, and it's not. It's like the 0.01
It
percentile
also-
exception to all governments that have ever existed, like between human
I'm curious
beings
if
on
you
Earth.
would agree. I think you would that it's not. It's all relative. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't be complaining about the state of affairs in your own country and that you shouldn't want something better. Like
Well
you
said.
should want something better, but you have to hold the opposites, right? The opposites are on the one hand, like objectively speaking, in the world, we live in a great society. On the other hand, if you live in the Western world, well, you can consider Mexico the Western world as well. So you have to be more specific than that. But if you live in a society where this is not the norm, you should be grateful. But on the other hand, things can always be better. And so how do you balance like having the gratitude of living in a great country alongside the fact that there's corruption in your own country, because no question, I bring this up. I use the word specifically, corruption in the United States. Nobody uses that word. I believe we have tremendous amounts of corruption that's underneath the surface that people don't want to acknowledge enough. So corruption exists.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like how much we can tolerate and how and
No,
what we
like
do.
our corruption exists, and I think you're talking about a slightly different thing where people sort of like complain, but they want to improve stuff, and you're like, yeah, we should improve stuff.
Right.
The stuff from last week is more an example of people like downplaying things, like,
Exactly.
oh, that's not a big deal because he sucks and I don't like him, and like, oh, it's not a big deal.
People
it's not a big
celebrated. People were cheering at work and celebrating. Like,
Well,
it was
here's
a
where
whole thing.
I think it's most dangerous is it's in the name of saving democracy.
Right.
And I found a meme that was like, if we could just jail the presidential frontrunner, stack the Supreme Court, ban voter IDs, censor free speech, we can save democracy,
Yeah, I
guys.
saw that.
And when it's in the name of the thing that you're just totally undermining, that's when it, I don't know, really.
I don't know if you saw. Like, I came out of the closet last week.
No, I didn't see.
Yeah, I am voting for Trump.
Oh,
I'm
I already
I'm
knew
just,
that.
like,
The whole
over it.
world knew
I
that.
literally
The
Did
already
you
whole
know
world-
that? I didn't know
The
that.
whole world knew that for a long
First of all,
time.
you didn't state it like that. You stated like, okay, guys, it's clear now. We're all voting
Yeah,
for Trump,
like,
right?
it's-
Like,
it's
as if
just
you were
like-
already
it's
on the
just like
bandwagon.
I'm just over it. I'm just fucking over it, man. Just like-
Someone came into the office this morning. I won't name him. And just like walked right into my room and was like, "I'm voting for Trump," and he's like a very left-leaning person, and was like, "I can't take it anymore." I was like, "Oh, what caused it?" He was like, "This whole thing, like with Trump, like what they did to him," and I was like, "Wait, you're supposed to celebrate this? Like this is your victory?" And he's like, "I can't." Like, I just can't. Like, he's like, I listened to the Daily break this down. I listened to multiple pods that are very left leaning and the things that they come up with. And you really look at, like, what they had to go through to convict him. Like, they went through every possible loophole to make this happen. This was obviously, like, completely orchestrated to just convict him. Like, that was the only outcome.
So is this gonna
And
be
to
one
get
of
him in
their-
jail?
This is going to be one of their all-time backfires.
Yes, I mean, look at the Polymarket betting stats. He went up like 10 points. He raised $200
Raised a ton
million
of money.
He raised,
since the
like-
conviction.
He raised like 56 million in like a day, right?
Yeah.
He raised more in like one day than Biden raised like the entire quarter, I think.
I think Ellie Honig has a good write-up on the whole thing. If you're, we're not going to dive into like why the details of it, but if you want to read it, Ellie Honig, he's a legal analyst at CNN, and he was on CNN saying this is a political prosecution, and he kind of details his argument. I don't have like a good source for like a counter argument. There's probably quite a bit of them, but in any case,
They're not good. I looked at all of them. They're fucking terrible, okay? I'm not like an impulsive guy. I was just like, this is stupid. It's completely illogical. None of this makes sense. Like, I was just like, what's the argument? What's the argument? They're so bad. They're terrible. It's just like, it's basically like, it all comes down to this. Like, I think democracy is dying because I feel that way. Ergo, I could do whatever the fuck I want because I'm saving democracy. And then they're like, I'm doing that so we don't elect a dictator. But the thing that you're doing is literally the fucking logic that every dictator and fascist uses to become a dictator and fascist. They go, I'm going to overturn all the laws and
it's
all
even
of the
better.
rules because, like, I am doing this for all of you.
It's
like,
even better than that.
It's so stupid.
Everything that they said Trump would be is exactly what they're doing.
Yes, it's gaslighting. I'm just being fucking gaslit all day.
He's going to jail everyone.
Over
He's
it.
going to go after his enemies. He's going to start wars. He's going to.
yeah.
It's literally all the playbook that they're running.
Okay, can I
It's
ask?
crazy.
Can I ask kind of like the naive question? Like, we have these separation of powers, right? We have this judicial system that's supposed to be able to, in an unbiased way, determine guilt or innocence, right? So, what happened in this case?
Well-
that says like that failed.
I think in the end it will win, right? Because he can appeal, and I think in an appeals court there will be several bases for appealing it. But I think in this case, like a judge, this judge in particular probably shouldn't have been the judge in this case.
But there's a jury of jurors, right? who
Yeah,
actually
jury where they tried the case in like a district where he won like 4% of the vote. You know,
Okay, and like from my brief experience on a jury panel, I understand it to be that you need a unanimous decision of 12 jurors.
You do, but when the judge gives all these like absurd obstructions, so like you really have to look into the fuckery and tomfoolery that went on here, and you're just like, all right, like this is so bad. It's so bad, and it's very obvious that it all will be overturned, and it will, because like the system isn't that broken, but it's like the timing is important, right? From that perspective, if it's overturned like a year from now or 2 years, like you still kind of got what you wanted. I think what they want will backfire anyway, so it's like
Right?
kind
Can
of
we have
whatever,
like
but
can we have a president like in office, like who is convicted of felonies? Like, is that something
Yeah.
that's like
yeah, well, there's gonna be all these weird constitutional crises, right? Because like I don't think a president can pardon himself of like state crimes,
No, but
right?
they
But in this case, this case is so fucking weird because they basically like
tied it to a federal crime.
tied it to a federal crime that the federal government declined to prosecute. I don't know. I don't want to go into it here. Like people can look it
But
up. But like the main problem is like people think like the legal system and our system of government is like the equivalent of like laws of physics, where like if I throw the ball up in the air, I can like measure the velocity and I know when it's going to come down. And it's not. Like it actually is kind of a social contract underneath it all. Like there's like all these tacit agreements that we have as society that we kind of agree on this thing and we won't do this thing. Like this idea that like the legal system is basically like a mathematical formula and then anything you put into it comes out and we have to accept it is like obviously flawed, right? It's also hilarious to me because these are the same people who, and there's like you have like a George Floyd incident or something, right? In that case, when the result doesn't go the way they want, it's just like the whole system is racist. It's like so messed up. But then you convict Trump, and it's just like, why don't you just respect the rule of law? Like, don't you? What do you don't? It's gaslighting. It's all fucking gaslighting, and we need to understand as a society that these things aren't written in stone. We have to have a social fabric. We have to have these implicit, like unstated rules, these lines that we don't cross, because once we cross them, everything starts unraveling very, very fast. It's not going to be a good thing. Sorry, end rant.
Yeah, I mean, I was with you, Eric. Like, I didn't pay attention to a whole bit of the trial. It was a lot of fuss. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't need to pay attention to this. Then when he got convicted, I was like, oh, maybe be worth seeing what this is all about. And then I was like, oh my God. Anyway,
high level of fuckery?
yeah, I think so. But I think in the end, he'll get an appeal, but it'll be after the election. And
But it helps him anyways.
Helps
to
him
win
anyways.
to win the election. So
It probably does, but I'm trying not to be like results oriented. Like it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
bad, regardless of what the outcome
Yeah.
is. Like it's just
It
bad.
is. It sets
It's just bad.
precedence. It's really bad. And anytime you cross any sort of line of like what is considered like normal or just like status quo, it creates a new status quo.
yeah,
It
what do you
creates a
call
new-
that version of like hedonic adaptation where you like get used to nicer and nicer things, but then you get used to
You
like
used to,
having
like,
an
worse and
authoritarian
worse
hand.
things.
Yeah, yeah. And you're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wow,
Is there-
you know,
is there a version
this
of
thing
that?
in the name of democracy, it kind of like feels
Dystopia?
nice. Yeah, dystopia.
Demonic
it's not
adaptation.
good. It's really, really bad. And there are certain things that cross certain lines that people are like, nope, I'm fighting for that one. And at first they seem trivial. You know, it's like, why is this person so like riled up about something so small? Obviously, this wasn't small, but there are things like that that signify like a sort of like a freedom being lost that is representative of like, oh God, if this unwinds, it leads to like absolute chaos.
Damn, it's
and
like-
a lot of people look at that and say like, oh, you're making it sound like it's a much bigger deal than it is, but isn't it? Like,
I think it is a huge deal. But what I learned from serving on one jury, it was like it's really hard to get a conviction, to get like unanimous 12 jurors to be like guilty, like and to have that come down on 34 counts. Is like that sounds
Yeah, for a
fucking
guy
hard.
that nobody knows, that's not the case. Where it's like somebody is on trial who literally everybody in the jury pool knows and has an opinion of.
But they vet those jurors, right? Like they like agree on those jurors.
I
right?
saw
Kind of.
I saw a great chart. It showed all the jurors by juror number where they get their source of information. I was really relying on juror number
boy.
2, who was the only True Social and Twitter selected. And he had none of the newspapers selected, none of the mainstream ones. And they were like, this man's life depends upon juror number 2.
That guy, yeah, he was like the Cheeto and the door lock meme.
Yeah,
Juror number 2.
he's the one holding it up.
Well, where the hell was he on this one?
I don't know. He must have caved.
Yeah,
Um,
no, the instructions were weird. Just I don't know. Look it up. I don't. Like, the judge did some weird shit.
So let's get the chat involved here. So False says, my Brazilian friend tells me that there they call it there in Brazil they call it corruption, but in America we call it lobbying. Marty McFly says, did you see Trump in the Bronx? I love it where he goes to the hoods. Best clips ever.
Yeah, they are good.
Edmund says, every time he goes to the hood, I can't help but giggle. Yeah, I mean, he for a guy who's supposed to be racist, like the guy has a lot of love in every neighborhood he goes into.
I mean, he's gonna probably like quadruple like the previous Republican president's like black vote amount. You know.
And Hispanic.
Yeah, like all of them. Like it's just like point number 37 of like gaslighting, right? It's like, oh, this guy's the most racist person in history as decided by white people, right? But like,
Yeah, and then like when the election's coming up, Biden's like, hey, Kamala, we need to go to like a black city real quick we got to hit him hard.
oh, I love him.
The only time he goes.
I can't wait till a new Kamala clip drops.
Oh,
Just to be
I
like,
can't watch.
space.
I can't.
It defines us,
I've seen that one. I can't watch her.
binds us.
There's no. It's too much.
I still haven't seen she hasn't reached my feeds yet. Like in 4
Lucky?
years.
You've never seen a clip of her?
No, I mean like not since the election. Like we did it, Joe, and then she's just been like gone.
Oh, yeah.
She's been gone.
That's because
Well, I only
they were
see
like,
her when she's
please
being made
just
fun of.
don't do anything.
Right.
Just stand in the back.
Straight out of Veep.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. I mean, look, the sunny side of this is that like pretty soon all of these people will be dead, and like we can get like younger people in there, maybe.
And our bags will go
Fingers
up
crossed.
also.
Yeah, like that's basically where we're like, Orange Man, good bag, I guess.
Good. Both are good for stonks.
Yeah.
One's particularly good for real estate. One's even better for crypto.
But yeah, this is like fourth turning shit, you know? This
Yeah.
is like, yeah, it's all fucked. I guess we may as well get rich. You know, it's like it's sad. It's not like what you want the outcome to be.
It's
I could-
so
very-
fourth
I couldn't
turn.
believe it when I heard Trump say, I will protect the right to self-custody.
I was like,
Self-custody?
what is
And I was like,
going
didn't even care
on?
that he was reading.
Someone
off
else
the
wrote that for
teleprompter.
you, but I know you
didn't
don't.
even care.
I know you don't know what that
Loved it.
means, but like,
Loved it.
I'm just glad. And he's staring at the teleprompter, like clearly at it, reading it, and I'm like, I don't care.
The thing is, he's been in crypto long enough as an entrepreneur that he knows what that means. That's the thing. He knows what that means.
Who cares?
Coinbase stock, good in this.
Eric's over it. Move
Yeah.
on.
No, I mean
Okay.
it's like who cares as long as we get,
Get the man a gavel.
no, as long as we get the regulation.
Oh, Eric with a gavel would be good.
Yeah.
right? yeah, the wig.
just the
Just
wig.
cut over him.
Actually,
and
just
cut
the
over him. He
wig
just
would
has
be
wig
good.
on.
All right,
Blind.
What was that phrase Nick used earlier? I am.
God, that was so
It
good.
was so good.
I'm glad you called that out. What was that?
Stupid. I have riled myself to a stupor. I just want you
Wait, he
with the
said that?
judge wig on and saying that. Oh, that was a goated moment. That was a goated moment. I have these dreams that one day we just show up to the pod and we talk like we're in the 1800s.
That'd be a
And we
funny
do a whole
episode.
episode
We
like
just all
that.
show up. And we're just,
There was once a land. Reginald, another beverage.
yeah, you could have a butler in.
Yeah, I would love a butler.
we have to brush
I would
up on
love
our
a
like
butler.
doth and thine and
Please.
And all of a sudden, wait, why is there 3 brown people here? This is weird.
oh my god.
It's like reverse 1800s.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, how did you guys get here?
Yeah, by the way, somebody posted a thing on Twitter the other day. It was just like how old all the founding fathers were, and I was like, oh my god.
Okay, I saw that, and like they're in their 20 to 30s, and then
Oh, are
you,
they
you
really?
you see the
No,
paintings.
there's a couple of them. They're like 18.
Yeah, but did you see the paintings? The guy
Yeah.
looks like he's 64, and you're like,
It's 'cause
okay.
they have the
It's-
wigs
it's
on,
the
man.
style, yeah.
It's
It's
the
the
style.
style. Wait,
But they're
you were that
basically like
young?
a bunch of rowdy like. It's like us, we're like we're like yelling at all the kids at Columbia for protesting, and that was just like
They
founding
found
were the
fathers,
kids
actually.
from Columbia.
they actually just
Oh
that was
my
actually them.
God.
They
Dude,
actually
in
made the whole country.
1776, you probably had like the top 0.1 of 1% of, let's call them intellectuals, you know, of go-getters, of earners, of ambitious people. And now it's just completely devolved. Like no top 1% wants to even go down the road of politics and like play that game anymore. It kind of sucks.
Oh my god, there's so many good founding fathers. You know, like the meme with like the little Shiba and like the super jacked Shiba.
Yeah.
You're really testing me on your
Oh my
memery.
That's a
know
good
this
meme.
one. I
You
know
gotta
this
know that
one.
meme.
I know this one.
Oh, there's so many good like like politicians then and politicians today.
Yes, I know the meme.
Like, I'm gonna throw all this tea in the. And then, this is not covered by my lobbying constituent.
All right. While someone is gonna queue up the Shaolin monk, one of you guys got to decide who's gonna
Oh, we
introduce
We're
This
not
this
gonna
one.
one.
we're not gonna get banned for playing this video, right?
No,
Oh, we
and
might,
we're not going to
actually.
play it just yet. I want to give a shout out to Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon, thank you for sponsoring the podcast. Check out magicspoon.com/alfalfa. This is your snack to lead a healthy lifestyle. So in this box, we got 0 total grams of sugar per serving, 4 grams of net carbs, and 13 grams of protein. So use it to stack your protein. You got cocoa, fruity, peanut butter, and frosted. Only 140 calories per serving, and all the friendlies you can think of: keto-friendly, gluten-friendly, grain-free, soy-free. But yeah, check out magicspoon.com/alfalfa. If you use the code alfalfa, you get $5 off the variety pack, and they'll give you your money back if you don't like it. So yeah, give it a try. Check it out if you haven't already. And thanks, Magic Spoon, for supporting the pod.
Yes.
Love you mucho.
Thanks,
It's
Magic
very
Spoon.
good with yogurt as well. We've talked about mixing it with protein shake.
Well, we got vanilla ones
Oh,
in the
that
office
vanilla
now.
yogurt is so
You
good.
throw the vanilla protein shake in there.
Yeah, it's like a little topping.
Fit boys. Fit
Double
boys.
the protein, double the fun.
The way you said that,
That's
Your wrist.
your wrist action on that was a
Yeah.
little suspicious.
That was a very Pride Month.
You know what the funny thing is?
theme.
We didn't discuss the wrist angle on the pod. That was a after hours
Yeah.
Is it an
discussion.
after hours thing?
I wanted to talk about it. You
Yeah,
guys-
well,
Well, yeah.
you guys were scared.
You guys did you just did the double mint gum thing. From
I know,
The 90s.
that's what
is that
it
what
was.
Is that what you're going
Yeah,
for?
yeah.
Do you remember that
That's
commercial?
the statement of a great mint. It's double mint gum.
You really made Doublemint a lot gayer than it was.
No, double mint was
No, it
super
was-
gay. They
it
would
was-
just have these
it
like
was-
two twin guys, and then they just run into these two twin girls, and they'd be like,
How about Mentos?
Mentos. Mentos was the same thing. Mentos was like double mint,
Mentos,
Gum,
the fresh maker.
but
It's
like
the fresh maker.
slightly less gay and no twins, but still like pretty gay.
Loved. I couldn't help but feel amazing after watching the Mentos commercial.
Like if you saw a Mentos
you just wanted to
commercial
go tackle
now,
the day.
oh my god,
You know, it's just like I'm gonna go get the day.
it looks like a commercial that somebody would make today as a joke, but like it was completely serious.
Now it was so
was
normal for the
completely serious.
'90s. It was 2000s, 90s.
People were
it was
just so
like,
happy, like just smiling ear to ear.
dude. .com, 99. It was just good times.
Yeah, it was great times. Money's
Good
raining from
times.
the sky.
Yeah.
Tupac wasn't dead.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, pivot.
Yeah,
sorry.
We're going
Keep-
Von Deeper.
We're going Von Deeper and a quick preface to this video.
All right, settle
So
in.
obviously, yeah, settle in, find a new angle in your position of your chair, and grab your beverage. So, obviously, anxiety and depression are at all-time highs. It's been a recurring theme that we discussed on the pod. Various data that we've sorted through, and many different angles, from psychoanalysis to cognitive psychology to spirituality, that we've looked at, and I think it's a fascinating topic. And there's a TEDx talk by a Shaolin monk. I'm actually not certain that it's which Shaolin monk, because there's actually one. Yeah, it is the guy I'm thinking of. So this guy is actually very popular on YouTube. He's actually become quite an influencer. He's got some great content actually outside of this TED talk, so highly recommend checking him out. But he, they took this 30-second snippet of his talk and this is why this Shaolin monk says that people are suffering from depression. So let's take a look at it and kind of bring our own opinions to it as well.
This society is too weak. Do you think somebody in the Stone Ages had depression? Yeah, or even a more modern variation, the Spartans. Do you think they had depression? Maybe you are laughing, but all of these groups, they are too busy with their body. They are too busy with activity to be depressed. Yeah, but nowadays, how does the time look? You can sit if you want from morning till evening just in front of the screen and nothing's gonna happen anymore. We need to make us stronger again. This society is too weak.
Okay,
Do you
that was
think
it. That was
somebody
that was
in
a
the
full.
Stone
We're
Ages
looping
had
back.
depression?
Oh, we're looping now. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a
There
couple
you have
things
it.
here. First observation, you put the Interstellar song on anything and it sounds
Yeah.
fucking sick.
Yeah. Put a guy in a Shaolin monk outfit. Like,
IQ doubles.
yeah, I'll trust anything.
Formula for awesome video. One.
That's
Monk.
pretty true.
Two. Like, that guy could have been telling you to just, like, eat your own poo. We would be like, oh my God, this guy's so sick.
True.
But in spite of that, the message is also pretty good.
It's a good message.
It's a good message.
Is it?
Is it a sign of the? I don't know. Is it not? Is it a sign of the times that? Is it a natural byproduct of good times?
Yeah, like this is like a luxury problem.
Are you saying like good times create wheat ben? That kind of analogy going on?
Too much of a good thing. It's been too long. I don't know.
So like the examples he used were like during times where you didn't have the luxury to like sit down and watch television.
He
right?
describes the lack of a luxury of time. He describes the lack of a luxury of like instant gratification. He describes like a feeling of like responsibility and bearing the weight of others in the world and work on your shoulders. And so he says like the remedy is to like pick things up, whether they're just like real work and physical things, or I take it as like responsibilities, which is like the Jordan Peterson remedy to depression and existential angst as well, which completely makes sense to me. It's like the more you sit around and think, the more likely you are to be depressed. The more you become of service to the world and you pick up heavy shit, whether it be like physical or intellectual, the more likely you are to like avoid depression.
Yeah, we have like I was trying to think of what are the biggest problems that we have in our life that cause people to have anxiety or get depressed. And if you start to list them, you know, and these aren't the problems I select, but I think if you just did a word cloud, it'd be things like equality, climate change. You know, you can go down the list, and like those are problems we don't really have agency over as an individual.
Wealth inequality.
Wealth inequality, or like political prosecution, and maybe that gets you riled up. But like, how much agency do you as an individual have over that problem? So we have all these sets of problems that you as an individual can't necessarily like change, and the problems that we you know, we don't have the problems we used to where agency mattered. Like, I don't know, getting food,
You know who said that?
surviving.
Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah, it's rolling back.
He did. He
Gay
did.
vibes.
He did.
Fuck. God damn
What
it.
about like because I was thinking about myself and I was thinking of like what would get me depressed. I don't think I've ever been depressed, but what would get me there?
No, hang on. You had that day you walked in the office. Remember?
Oh, you had a bad day.
Yeah.
You
bad day
remember,
once.
guys, what is happening to me?
It wasn't even a bad day.
Remember that?
It was just weird.
Now, you didn't want to label it, but
You guys.
you were depressed.
Oh God, Eric walked in. He's like, "You guys ever have like one of those days where like things just keep going wrong, and it's like a weird feeling. I've never felt it
Yeah,
before. Like,
just
we're like,
don't
are you having
feel
a bad
good.
day? Is that what you're describing?" He's like, "I think so." I'm like, this guy just had his
It was
first bad
literally out of a
day.
cartoon. It was so good.
I played into that.
It was so
Yeah.
good.
It wasn't a bad day. I had a great day. I still haven't had a bad day.
I like
It's a
that.
less good day.
That's fair.
It was a weird day. Just like
It was a glitch in the Matrix day.
It's a glitch in the Matrix day. But I think something that would lead me down a path of depression would be if I wasn't with you guys, if I wasn't with friends, if I wasn't with family, if I was like off somewhere in a distant land where I didn't have friends and I was a lonely person, and that would probably make me feel depressed. And that's something that I could have agency over, potentially.
Yeah, like outside of solitary confinement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like-
hear you. But the reality is, for most people, they're more connected than they've ever been, and depression is more sort of among us than it's ever been. That's the irony of the connected age. Everyone has more quote unquote friends than they've ever had. They have more people around them than they've ever had, but they're feeling more lonely. The loneliness epidemic is essentially like, you know, a pandemic at this point. It's a worldwide phenomenon, and it's scary. And I think that has something to do with it as well. We've talked about like the connectedness of social media and what that's done to people, but maybe it's deeper than that. I think this might be deeper. Is it a sign of the times? Is it a sign of the lack of like the responsibility that people
But
have?
hold up. Do you agree with the main thesis of this?
Yeah,
Like his
that's-
cure.
let's back
Basically,
up.
like the lack of struggle creates depression.
Yeah,
And
hard
you
work.
can't have depression if your life has struggle? Like, do you agree?
But
with
no,
that?
he specifies a little more, right? Doesn't he say about like moving the body in struggle, like almost
I'm
physical?
paraphrasing,
Right.
But like, look, I think there's something interesting there, right? Like, because I think like everybody understands that if you take a physical body and it just sits there and atrophies, it just goes to shit. And I think everybody understands that. Everybody understands the concept that like, oh, if you put that physical body under the stress of weight, or you like put your heart under stress with cardio, like everybody's like, oh, that makes you better, right? But then people think like the mind is different, but like it's probably not. Like I don't think it is, but like I think what he's saying is like the same thing. I think it views him as like one and the same: the physical body, the mind, everything that you are. Like if you don't have struggle,
How would you test his
have
hypothesis?
depression.
Like, I would be interested to see like, are construction workers have a lower rate of depression? Like, are they using their bodies every day a lot more, like 10 times more than the average individual?
They're for sure using their bodies more.
Yeah. So like,
So,
that'd be a good way to test his.
I don't agree with the overall premise.
what's the what you don't agree that?
Don't agree that simply maintaining a high level of physical activity is the remedy.
But that's not his premise.
I mean, you
That's
just
part
asked
of it.
that.
That's
You just
part of
said,
it.
No,
like,
no,
do
no.
I
His
agree with that?
premise is that like a life without struggle creates depression. Like, he's basically like anybody who lived in a time where there was struggle, both physical and mental,
Yeah.
right? Like these people weren't depressed.
Yeah,
I'll
kinda,
give that to you if that's your interpretation, but that's not like what he actually says.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
That's
pretty
like
sure that's
well,
like
you're
what
like
he's
taking it
saying.
down to
It's
his
an
first
interpretation.
principle, which I kind of get.
He's
But
saying
that
This,
wasn't
this
his-
is not a video about like getting up and like running and lifting weight. It's a video about like having struggle in your life and
so
about
let's
struggle
just,
being good.
let's just assume instead of analyzing him, let's use that and run with that and assume that's what he meant and that's like a theory. I still don't agree with that because it's an extremely complex topic and I actually just listened to a great podcast that Tom Nom Nom recommended. This PhD psychoanalyst trained in Jungian psychology was on the Huberman pod. Don't know his name. I can find it out. It was a recent episode. Phenomenal. I'm about 75% of the way through it. And there's so many examples of this. I mean, just within Jungian psychology overall, but depression is something that arises often when the self needs to communicate a message that you are off track. And the universe and life has a way of communicating to you that you need to make an adjustment. And it often comes to you in the form of depression. And there are signals, and life will tell you to reposition yourself. But we tend to ignore these things because we think that we're on the right track because we're doing the thing that we're passionate about. We're being rewarded for it. We're making the money. We're receiving the recognition. We assume that everything we've done, we followed what our tribe and our family and our community wanted us to, in addition to feeling like personally aligned, that this is what I set out to do. And yet often we find ourselves like running on a track that has a lot of friction, and then suddenly that little bit of friction becomes like overwhelming depression and angst, and you just feel completely lost. And these things come in cycles that I think are actually completely, in my opinion, normal and human and fundamental to the experience of being human. Like, I think it's normal to once every 10 years or 20 or 30 years fall into a depression. I really do. I think it's avoidable for some people.
Wait, do you?
But that-
do you,
that-
do you
I think it's
people in the
normal to experience a
wild
cycle
Did
of
that? Do you think Spartans did that? Do you think like? Because his argument is basically like this is a
I
construct
don't
of
know
modern
if that's
society.
a helpful question.
I think it's a helpful question because if
But
the
I
answer to
don't-
that
but-
question is no, this is only something.
But that's only
modern
helpful-
people do.
I know, but that's only helpful if there are people that can truly avoid it of a substantial number where
but it's
it
useful from a
becomes like-
scientific perspective because you can be like, oh, we can isolate the cause of depression to this because depression doesn't exist here, and in modern society it does
Well,
I
exist.
know, but we don't
right?
exist in that
Well,
society.
but could we
But it's still
isolate?
useful
could
because we can
isolate
understand
it?
why that is.
Could we isolate it in modern times? Like, are there
Right. That'd
subsects
be more
of the
useful.
population that don't have the luxuries that we have today, that are like still struggling physically, mentally, whatever. And how are they doing?
Yeah,
Do
dude.
they
Like,
have-
I feel like if you go to you ever see these like somebody goes to these like African tribes where they're just like literally just wandering and hunting shit, and they're just like, "Do you have suicide?" And they're like, "What? The fuck are you talking about? Why would you kill yourself?" Right? Like, it's like there's like a lot of examples of stuff like that. I think where you can look even in the modern world, like I don't know, we have the Amish, right? I think people have done studies on the Amish, and they're like, wow, they're a lot happier, even though they don't have electricity and appear to be like religiously oppressed from the outside, but they're happier than what? Wait, why? Why is that? Like, I think there's like a bunch of stuff you could probably look at and be like, interesting.
Pretty instructive, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instructive, but
I
Armand,
don't
your argument
know.
is that's
I
not
don't
as
know.
practical.
I think, like, for example, like every human being at a certain point has to face their mortality, or even just more simply like aging, and that's difficult. That can cause depression. That can cause deep questions. No matter what kind of society you live in, eventually you're going to have to face that. I think that if you get and into a situation in a relationship that's difficult, it can cause depression. If you are cheated on or backstabbed by a best friend or something like that happens to you, you can fall into difficult times. I think there's a lot of circumstances externally that can cause it, but even more so, which is even more alarming, I think there are a lot of circumstances internally that can cause it. Oftentimes, what I find causes depression is an internal misalignment of values. That's all I mean, I don't want to say that's all it is, but it's actually it's insane how deep that actually
Yeah,
is.
That's just a modern thing. Like, if you try to explain to somebody in Sparta that you just have this like misalignment of values and you're depressed, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking
But
about?"
back
Like,
to
that in
Eric's
and of
point.
itself is
Back to
a-
Eric's point. Let's find a slice that exists in a progressive first world country, modern day society where that same thing exists, and that would be more useful.
I don't know. I think you can find use in these old stories. Like in the Spartan story, for instance, there was that one guy that wanted to be a Spartan warrior, and they wouldn't let him because he had like a deformity or something. And I'm pretty sure that guy was depressed. And then he fucking backstabbed the Spartans, went on the side of the Persians because he was fucking depressed about not being able to be a Spartan warrior. So I think that shit existed back then too. It's like back to Armand's point. It's like if you are misaligned with your values, this guy just
I don't
wanted to be
think
a
that
Spartan
guy
warrior.
was depressed. I think that guy was like miffed. I think that guy was like slighted, right? Scorned, right? Like, the idea of scorn definitely existed back then. We're talking about depression. That guy would have been like, yeah, whatever, I don't care, just like stab me, whatever.
I think there
it's like
was.
a sense of apathy.
I
you know?
think you could argue even Marcus Aurelius experienced depression. I genuinely believe
Yeah,
that
but
it
wasn't
has
Marcus
always
Aurelius
existed.
like rich as fuck?
Sure, he was the emperor of Rome, but
Right.
my point is like even a slave can experience depression in Rome. Like, I really do believe that that's a part of the human experience, and that just being a Spartan warrior or a caveman doesn't remove you from the human experience. I think the moment, let me put it this way. I think the moment that we became conscious beings aware of the gift and the trade-off of our own mortality and the finiteness of experience itself, we were also faced with the possibility of depression.
But this isn't like a super useful discussion if you're just basically like, oh, depression exists now and it also exists then, ergo whatever, right? Like, I think if
No,
you
my
draw
ergo
the,
is not whatever. My ergo is actually like now as a foundation on that, like what to do about that. Like, that's an interesting discussion.
right, but
to
like
me.
I don't even think you should be like talking about, like, I think to me it's like eminently obvious that like depression is effectively a modern phenomenon. Not to say it doesn't exist in tribal society. I'm sure if you found someone out there, like, you could find like a depressed guy in Africa who's like just running around with like one, like, I don't know. This is starting to sound racist, so I'm like sorry.
Yeah.
But like, you know, somebody who's like not modern society, right? Like, the thing we equate to like, oh, they're all happy, whatever. I'm sure you could find somebody who is still depressed. It doesn't negate the idea that the rate of depression in modern society is probably astronomically higher. And why? What is that? Is it the sense of like struggle, or is it something like else, right? Like Tom said something in the chat where he's like, I don't think it is basically struggle for struggle, and struggle for struggle's sake doesn't make you happy. Like there's like something behind it, like this idea of purpose. I think that's definitely true. I also think that that's like partially wrong. Like I actually think like if you just struggled, even for no reason, you almost would trick your brain into being less depressed, because it's just like a pathway that you're designed to like kind of react to, right? Much in the same way that some of the pathways that helped us
So
survive.
I'll jump on your track.
Yeah.
Like I'll agree that like yes, it's way more prevalent in modern society because it's a luxury of good times and you're not struggling as much. So then I guess my question becomes like, yeah, so what do you do? Do we need to incorporate more of a sense of struggle and purpose and responsibility in our lives to like prevent?
I mean, we have
sadness
to, we have
and
to see
depression?
struggle as good, right? Like, I think a lot of people look at the world.
By the
and
way,
they're
even
like,
Jensen talked about that.
what?
Science titties, and he talked about the importance of struggle. Did you guys ever see that clip?
I did.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
amazing.
I know the one you're talking about.
He
yeah.
was like,
That was like a speech, right?
suffer. Like we suffer as a company, and we embrace suffering. And it was like a dark moment talk. It was heavy. It was heavy.
I felt that one.
And he-
As
it
like a
was a
smaller
heavy
company
moment.
trying to grow,
Yeah.
you're like, thank you. I feel,
Yeah,
I
because
feel seen.
the way he described it was like what startups feel. It was like we're chewing glass here, and we embrace the chewing of the glass. Is essentially what I took away from it.
So there's something I see on a broad scale. So I think this can be complementary to your guys' takes. Like it doesn't have to mean that one's right or wrong. This can exist alongside both. But like one thing that I see is that like human beings tend to be influenced by their like external factors. And one of the external factors that I see now more so than when I was growing up. So like over the last 30, 40 years, I've seen become more prominent is like this idea where like mental health is the focus. And I think while that's probably good on the most part, like it incentivizes you or like aligns you to like kind of find like you have a hammer and not every problem's a nail. So like I've probably never felt depression, but I felt different sometimes. Like I felt just like blasé at times. And I'm like, and my thought now is like, am I depressed? You know, because like the whole world is telling me like, you're probably depressed. You're probably depressed. And like, I'm thinking like,
I mean, the world wants you.
the
to
world
be
wants
depressed.
everyone to be depressed.
Wants
It's
everybody to be depressed.
Right.
Wants everybody to be kind of helpless and sick in a way that like we can give you a pill or something or a shot and
like,
you're good.
when I'm thinking about this, like I know that humans are influenced by outside factors because I think about like little children who like fall down. And if like you give the children attention, they start crying. But if you just like keep doing your thing, they go play again. And it's like, I feel that when like people are just feeling, you know, not 100, they're just like, well, I could get probably depressed then,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Do you need medication? Do you
Yeah,
need therapy?
what do you need? What do
I
you
think
need?
so much of mental health and depression comes down to what do you accept and what language do you use to describe it. That's what I took away from that's what I often take away from your perspective.
Perception, yeah, like your
Yeah,
own
perception.
spin you put on it.
Even Eric could be depressed, but not acknowledge, and also not assign the language to it. He instead will say, I'm speaking for you, sorry, but like I think you would instead say, I'm having a weird day. It's a glitch in the matrix. Instead of like, I'm fucked. I had the worst day ever. You know what? Every day has been like that. And I just can't get it on anymore. I can't get my head on straight. I can't. And then negative spiral, negative spiral, negative spiral. What does that do? It causes depression. So I think so much of what you have and people need is like perspective of mental like fortitude and strength that says like, hey, shit happens. Like, get back on the saddle. Like that in and of itself prevents you falling into a depression. Your language, your simple like framework, right? Your thoughts create your words, create your actions. That's literally Zoroastrianism. That's what we believe. That's what ancient Persians believed. It's like thoughts, words, feelings. And just in general, like thoughts, words, actions, like that's all it is. That's the basic formula. is like your reality is created by your thoughts. I mean, that if you look at all philosophy, all stoicism, all spirituality, even like beliefs and principles and frameworks, it all comes down to that, doesn't it? Even Napoleon Hill. What do you believe? What do you think? What do you say as a result of that, and what action do you take?
I mean, I agree with this a lot, and it's what kind of makes a lot of the modern world a little scary, because if what you're saying is true, then the reality of what is happening to you is actually trumped by your perception of it, right?
Definitely. They said that 2,500
Yeah.
years ago.
And like we live in a world where actually people's realities are very warped. Like an interesting example of this is like I was listening to I forgot the podcast today, but they were citing like one of the things we talk about on the show is like the idea of like the disaffected Zoomer or millennial who's upset because like the boomer has taken all the wealth and they can't get ahead in life. And like they were going over stats of like wealth of generations by age 30, like boomers, Gen X, millennials, Zoomers, right? And if you look at the data, like what do you think the breakdown is?
I think it's been going down.
It's been going up.
It's going up.
Yeah, so the last place was boomers, then Gen X, then millennials, and now Zoomers are
I mean,
the
that
wealthiest.
spits in the face of all the other data.
Correct, but this fits in perfectly what you're saying is that like
Is that inflation adjusted?
yes, it's inflation adjusted.
What?
Yeah, I know. But like I think this is important because it actually means that perception is everything. And this totally makes sense, right? Because if you went back in time, what are you anchoring your perception to? It's like, oh, my wife didn't die in childbirth. I didn't lose 3 of my sons. Like the village wasn't attacked by like a marauding herd, right? Like of course it's all relative and perception based, right? Because in absolute terms, like of course everybody should be way happier. But in this world where everybody, I don't know if it's the social media or what, like people's perceptions are like they feel victimized in a way, and so of course like they then like act that way, and then they become that, I guess, right? It was just like super interesting to me because like I thought the same thing as you. I thought we were gonna look at the data, and I thought we were gonna be like, oh, okay, no, inflation adjusted, and that would be like the big gotcha. But like that was the thing. And then I looked at more stuff, like the average like salary for like a Zoomer like 2 years into a job is way fucking higher. Like in entry level, it's higher than like their previous generations. Like everything is pointing in that direction, and yet people are getting like madder and madder and sadder and sadder. And I think it's super interesting. And it's like
That's wild.
And right now they're like, well, it's because we can't buy a house. Like if only we bought a house, we'd be happy. But honestly, if they could buy a house, like it would be the next thing. It would be like, well, like it's now it's because of this. It's because of this. And this is something that we talk about a lot, which is that like, oh, you have this idea that like, oh, if I get the next thing, I'll be happy. And that doesn't make you happy. And you get the next thing, you're not happy. Why? It's because your state of mind to begin with was like totally fucked. Like you think that like, oh, if I can buy the house or get this, I'll be happy. But actually, there's just something way in front of that that's making you not happy to begin with, and the thing you think that will make you happy is not it. Like it's probably what this monk on the screen would say.
So you guys think it's a lot of it is perception?
Oh yeah, a ton of it is perception. And like I think as humans we also like have a tendency to like misattribute the reason we're feeling things to things in the world, you know? Like
You think it's like external focus, you know, and victim mentality has become popularized, and too much luxury, and
it's even less crazy than
essentially-
like, look, I'm gonna pick on women again, but like, have you ever had a moment
Whoa.
where
Is this a segment?
yeah,
I'm gonna pick
Recurring
on
segment.
women.
like, you ever have a moment
Picks
where your
on
girlfriend or your wife is like really fucking mad at you for something you did, and then but like you know them really well by this point, and you've been like observing them, and you know for a fact like something happened before they had this conversation, and you know they're already mad, and that you did a thing.
I'm pretty
and
sure
it's coming out at you.
I'm pretty sure that's always the case.
Well, I'm not gonna go there. Sometimes you did something, Armand.
No, no. I'm just saying,
Sometimes
like,
it actually is your
I have
fault.
learned that often what is being complained about is not the thing. There's a deeper thing.
Right. Like
That's basic. Like men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
but I think humans in general do that. They have this angst and they're like, this is the reason, and they're like, if I fix that because I think this is the reason, that I will feel good.
Yes.
But in actuality, like the proximate cause is something that's like not even in your current consciousness.
You just reminded me of the way of the superior man. Maybe we should talk
Or
about
maybe
that
that
one.
was the book where he talked about
The Way
it.
of the
It was
Superior.
that
Way
one.
of the
yeah.
Superior. Do women have a book of like an equivalent
Yes,
title?
they do.
The Way of the
I don't know.
The
what
Way of the
title is.
Blank Woman. What is it?
But anyway, we should talk about it one time.
Wait, what book? It's 3 sentences. It's
No, it's a book.
No.
Oh, okay.
Solve a man. That's
The Way of the Superior Man.
I think Dave
Three
Chappelle had a
sentences?
skit on this. Yeah.
Make him a sandwich.
sandwich.
Suck his dick, make him a sandwich.
Oh no, don't know.
Sandwich. BJ.
I don't know.
What's left?
Look it up. Look it up.
I don't know.
There go our last 3 female listeners.
But it is that simple.
So
Hey, you signed up for this.
I'm looking at the Shaolin monk, and I'm like, okay, well, how can I maybe apply his advice? Like, I work in an office all day. Like, I work in front of a computer. Am I supposed to walk to the office more? Yeah, I could work out more for sure. I could spend more time being physically active, or is it the sense of like go struggle in something with a group of people towards like a noble end, and like maybe that's having a company, and you're
We
struggling
need to go to war.
and it does feel like that
Kind
sometimes.
Of, yeah. I mean,
So is that-
it would work?
Draft
in
me.
in a weird kind of way.
But I'll say if we were
Suboptimal kind of way.
if we were struggling in this company in war for a noble aim and we were failing, I'd probably be a little depressed. Like where I felt like I was like going in loops and there was struggle without progress.
Definitely.
That would suck.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know if the struggle.
To your point, lack of progress can easily cause depression.
Yeah. So I don't know if
Easily.
the struggle for struggle's sake is the answer.
I
no,
agree
it's
with
not
that.
struggle for struggle's sake, but struggling will. Does that make sense? Like the point isn't to struggle, but struggling will still make you happier than not struggling. But the root, the proximate cause of why struggling makes you feel good is because like you are supposed to have a purpose, and it is
Yeah.
supposed to feel good to struggle towards that purpose. So like ideally, you don't just struggle, you struggle towards a purpose, and then obviously if you remove that purpose, like you don't feel good.
I get that.
I genuinely believe that a disconnection and disalignment with the self, with a capital S, which is really a way of looking at a more collective intelligence, a more spiritual perspective on who you are and what your purpose on this earth is what causes the majority of depression. And I know, by the way, we should always use a disclaimer when we talk about depression, because there are people that are just chemically depressed and suffering in ways that I've never understood.
call.
That isn't just the types of depression that we're discussing that are sort of circumstantial or based on like certain events and mindset and things
But
like
you have
that.
to you have to disclose that minority group. I
Yeah,
think
let's-
that's right. But
let's definitely call that out.
Yeah.
But that's not the majority of cases.
Yeah.
I'd almost put that in the bucket of like that's chronic and difficult to deal with, and there are ways to deal with that are way outside of any normal human being's like pay grade. But that situation aside, I think most of it comes down to, at least for me, I think that people are suffering spiritually. I think there's a huge loss of identity, or not even identity, but of relationship with spirituality, whatever that may be. And that doesn't mean you need to believe in a personal God or an Abrahamic God or a religious God. It means that you don't have meaning in your life oftentimes. And you can do that as an atheist. And it exists. You know, Carl Sagan is one of my favorite thinkers of all time, and he was this atheist, more agnostic individual, and he called himself a pantheist. Toward the later end of his life, Einstein no longer even called himself a pantheist. He actually became quite spiritual and believed in a God of sorts, this infinite energy. But whatever it is, I think when you begin to lose sight of that, whatever it is, maybe for you it's nature, maybe for that relationship that you have with nature, and you surf, and when you go out on the ocean, you feel connected to something. Maybe you did a huge dose of mushrooms and you actually feel like you experienced God, like God did. You know, it's different for everybody, but whatever that is, the loss of that, I think, is something that, because we don't have the church anymore, at least in this country, the way that we used to, because it's not socially cool, acceptable, normal, because we've put religion aside and God is dead, we don't know where to turn. We don't know where to go. We don't know where to find it to feel something. And that lack of feeling something and having any compass toward who we are brings up a lot of shit. So that self-discovery that each person needs to do throughout their lives, it's really important. It's really
Can I say that
fundamental.
resonated deeply with me? And there's something I want to add, because I've like looked inward, right? Like you guys joke about me and how I'm like this weirdo that.
By
like,
the way, it's
doesn't
a
feel.
huge compliment.
And I take that, and I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
when Armand calls you a weirdo, he means
No,
I
like,
didn't call him a weirdo.
No, I call myself that, but it's like a way to not like be boastful. I acknowledge that you guys give me credit for this, and I love that. Like I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But like something that I notice about myself within this, it's like a big thing for me is like having a strong sense of identity, like who I am, and like what makes me good at what I'm good at, or bad at what I'm bad at. Like understand, like having self-awareness. And I think that's something that maybe people are not doing a good job of understanding when they sort of lose sight. Like Armand's talking about this disconnectedness, and maybe that's part of the issue. Is like I have a very keen sense of like who I am, what makes me happy, you know, and I feel like part of my identity is that like I'm a happy guy, and you know, because of that, I have happy days, and here's another happy day. That's just part of it. I
So important, dude. I nailed it. Most important thing, and I've been using that more lately as well. Even just the basic things of like the colors. I used to wear a lot of black. Like Nick and I always just wore black. But I recently started just introducing a little bit of color. But the point is like that happy. Like if you just say that you're a happy person, or that you see joy around you, or that you get joy out of like a color and it brings light to your life. Like it's the dumbest, most basic things that can like change your perspective and could change your identity.
it changes your response to everything that happens in
Yeah,
life.
exactly. It's more subtle than you think.
Me and my fiance call ourselves the Grim Reapers. When we walk out of the house, we're all in black, and then the dog is white and black, and it's just like, oh, here comes
Well,
the
you
Grim.
know,
You guys are
Persians
dark.
only wear black, so this is like a sort of blasphemous thing to do. In general.
So before we wrap up, let's get the chat involved because I got some
Yeah.
good stuff. Edmund says, remember when Eric had to fast? Extreme depression. Dude hated life. Cameron
True.
says, no bad days, but
True.
certainly bad month with that dopamine detox.
Yeah, true.
oh boy.
Edmund also says, this is why everyone should squat, Steven. Vibe says, it's not mainly physical. Tom says, I think it's enduring struggle that produces tangible change that can be attributed to the effort. Struggle just for struggle for its own sake is inadequate. Exercise some kind of influence on the environment through effort. We got Marty saying, there's something odd going on in 10 to 13-year-olds. That's like a weird internet psyop, perhaps. It's really odd and maybe an outlier. Cameron replies, we call that TikTok, Marty.
casual comment.
Yeah.
I like Marty's other comment.
What do you got?
This podcast reminds me of what's missing. It's like the old Italians playing cards at the bar once a week from age 30 to 80. U.S. culture lacks that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
What
Make
if-
that the tagline.
What a fucking compliment.
Can you
Yeah.
that
just
is.
help us
that's-
describe what the podcast is, Marty?
No, I just want to do that for a living.
That's such a compliment.
Get that guy. And that's why we play pickleball.
Marty also said, once heard depression is isolation and disempowerment. Thought that was a decent take. Pilgart says, my Bolivian wife says depression is something that only exists in the modern or the first world.
Yeah.
And depression is an invention of modern times where one has the time to sit alone.
Wow, 60% of the chat has come in the last like 10 minutes of this depression conversation.
Wait, you got data that I don't got?
No, I'm just saying. I made it up. I'm just seeing like, wow,
Did you
what
just
an
say
amazing.
You made that up?
60%.
Source.
make the
I
time.
made it up.
Works every time.
90% of Armand's stats are.
I see that Max was communicating in emojis Chappelle's
I did
formula.
See, I did see Max
I
put an
see
eggplant
something like
in,
a sandwich, an eggplant, and a
Yeah.
peace sign. I don't know what that means, but
Leave me alone. I forgot about that one.
yeah,
Max,
we're
nice
not
call. Nice call, Max.
yeah, Eric's bringing the fire. Steven's bringing the fire. Yeah. Thank you, chat, for chiming in.
What
Want to include some of your guys' thoughts.
phenomenal community. Love you, MFers.
Do you have any fake stats you want to bring us home with, Armand?
99% of people
Uh-oh.
love your Ray-Bans.
Wait, why did you take them off?
Who's the one
I didn't clean
motherfucker
them, so it was very dirty.
Can you believe
upside down?
1% would like you to get a different lens, orange.
That was
lens.
Armand. That was Armand in the vote.
Same glasses, orange
This
lens.
is who I am, okay?
Turn them into blue blockers.
Oof. Does that turn you into the
That'd be
Silicon
pretty
Valley
cool.
bro, though?
What if they were recording blue
Rose-tinted
light
life?
blocking lens? Consider.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd just like to point out that the lights didn't go out.
Dude.
Steven, congratulations on your
slow
techno.
clap for Steven
techno-
in
Are they
on
bright
that
enough to
one.
show up on the video?
You
Not
gotta
really,
celebrate the
but,
wins
you
on
know.
this production
Dude,
of
little
this
wins,
pod.
boys.
Yeah.
Little wins.
Big
Yeah.
little wins on this pod as we get them. I
If
guess.
only people knew
They're
how.
all illuminated right now. Confirmed. Wow.
Yeah, I
Confirmed.
know. Wild.
Tip of the cap, sir.
Thank you. Now
Progress.
We just have to make Armand's head visible. We'll have a real podcast.
Somehow make sure his head and beard
Can we
don't.
get some 1080p? It's still a little grainy.
You sure
Working
you
on
want
it.
that?
Working on it, sir.
All right.
Told the processor is not.
You mean we have to buy a new
Firm enough.
computer?
I don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe that a new MacBook Pro is not good enough. I don't believe that. Not buying it.
All right, chat. Thank you for joining us live. We got a lot. I see a lot of you guys in there. Thanks for chiming in.
Good
and
night,
Even though
MFers.
it's grainy.
Good night, MFers.
yeah, and like the video if
Good
you haven't
talk.
already. Share
Best
this
community on
episode
the internet.
with a friend if you haven't already. And we will see you. Oh, are you guys doing a little
Shill a friend, baby.
irresponsibly long
Shill a
tomorrow?
friend.
Do we have a community member in town tonight that we're meeting up
Tom Nom in the building.
Is he?
with? Look at that.
Tom
Wait,
Nom
is
is
he?
in
Oh,
the building.
fuck.
Wait, he was tricking me?
I got a din din thing tonight.
No, Tom is in the building.
Come on.
Thank God. He told me I wasn't fat enough for him, to be honest, earlier.
Well,
Wow.
you're not. You have a six pack, dude. You're out.
Yeah.
Good joke.
Nick, to answer your question, like I'm gonna keep taking a few weeks off. I feel
Okay.
good.
All right.
You know, I'm sorry everybody, but like I need a break. My
Yeah.
battery is slowly recharging.
Just don't
Okay.
eat.
Yeah.
Don't.
All right.
Just fucking just don't do anything. All right.
Yeah. Be cool. Be cool.
Just be cool.
All right. Well, then we will see you next week, Wednesday, 5 p.m. PST. Thank you all for joining us. Love you lots. Bye.